The top story that we are following here on India Today coming in from the United States of America, and a bizarre statement. That's the least that one can say. Now, Donald Trump's aide has given out a stunning remark on the Ukraine war. He's labeled the Ukraine conflict as Modi's war. Statement coming in from the United States of America. India and Russia are trading in oil, and that's burdening the US taxpayers. India must stop buying oil from Russia. There could even be a 25% tax relief that could be given to India from the United States only if India stops buying oil from Russia. This is the White House advisor, Peter Navarro, who's now labeled the Ukraine conflict as Modi's conflict, claiming India's purchasing discounted Russian oil, and that is something that is bankrolling Moscow's aggression and burdening the American taxpayers. Also goes ahead and says India could get an additional 25% reduction in the US tariffs if it stops buying oil from Russia. White House advisor Peter Navarro, referring to the conflict influenced by India, saying the path to peace runs in part through New Delhi. This is a bizarre statement coming in. Navarro now saying that this is a war which is now in fact being fueled by India, saying that the war to peace actually goes through New Delhi. My colleague Maria Shakil is now joining me on the story. Maria, this is a bizarre statement. That's the least that one can say. Statement coming in from someone who's so close to the US President Donald Trump. Peter Navarro is now saying that there could be a reduction in the tariffs, but only if India stops buying Russian oil. Also goes ahead and says that this is Prime Minister Modi's war.
And let's not forget that what Prime Minister Modi had famously said, and that was said as early as September of 2022 in Samarkand during the SCO summit, where he said that this is not an era of war. Something that Dr. S. Jaishankar reiterated as Prime Minister Modi's line, amplifying it on the global stage during the UNGA. Again, it was reiterated in the Bali summit, the G20 Bali summit, where they incorporated that as India's line as part of the leaders' declaration, with Prime Minister Modi's interventions being endorsed by global leaders. So whatever Mr. Navarro has said is far from truth, something that will impact the ongoing talks between India and United States, between New Delhi and Washington, with regards to the trade talks, as indication has been from both the sides that the talks are still ongoing, that the channels of communication between New Delhi and Washington as far as the trade talks is concerned is ongoing. So this will be seen as a provocation, I would say, certainly, Aishwarya, something that Washington has done repeatedly. The Trump administration has been making a series of irresponsible statements against Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and forgetting what he has been saying with regards to the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. Not once, but multiple statements that has come from Prime Minister Modi on several occasions. This is not an era of war, which has been included as part of the leaders' declaration first during the Bali summit of November 2022, which was followed when New Delhi held the G20 summit as a message of continuity. He had also communicated the same whenever he spoke to President Zelensky and President Putin as well. So the messaging from New Delhi has been pretty unequivocal and clear on that regard, with regards to the India when it came to India's position vis-a-vis the Russia-Ukraine war. And as far as purchasing of the Russian oil is concerned, India's Ministry of External Affairs has issued a statement not once but multiple times that India remains a nation which will exercise its autonomy, its sovereign decision to engage and to do trade with other nations, which it has done so, particularly because of the global supply chain being in great strain in the post-COVID war, post-COVID era. That is the reason why India will continue to engage with Russia. No other country can dictate its terms on India's trading decisions. But having said that, the statement coming in from Donald Trump's advisor, Mr. Navarro, will be seen as a provocation, particularly coming a day after the indication that came from New Delhi was that the communication channels between the two sides is open. that New Delhi certainly is looking for a resolution. They were looking to resolving this. Remember, the trade negotiators, were expected in India this week. That was not to be, of course, because of the ongoing tensions.
Right, Maria, please stay on with us. Pranay Upadhyay, our colleague, is also joining us on the story. Pranay, when Navarro was asked whether US is in talks with India, if there is any possibility of adjusting the tariffs, the White House advisor, Peter Navarro, very clearly said, it's really easy. India could actually get a 25% discount tomorrow if it stops buying oil from Russia.
Aishwarya, this could be the bizarrest or the most absurd logic which one can give in such a situation of ignoring the facts. Yes, India can stop, but can India stop? Because, oil purchases are the complex processes. You initiate your oil purchase a month before, your orders need to be placed. More so, see the volume of India's oil purchase. India buys 5.55 lakh barrels per day, out of which only 17 lakh barrel come from Russia, average. And why India is buying? It's the same United States which has encouraged India to buy Russian oil, and why India's oil purchase from Russia is important because one, US and other Western countries, they did not let India buy oil from the usual sources, and that's why India was compelled to buy the Russian oil, discounted oil. Initially, the previous Joe Biden administration not only recognized it, they appreciated the fact that India's oil purchase from Russia has actually helped to stabilize the global oil prices. Secondly, the simple fact that the United States and Trump administration and people like Peter Navarro are completely overlooking the fact that the EU is buying. EU's gas purchase from Russia and oil purchase from Russia has higher volume in terms of money, more than India, but they are not looking the fact. The largest oil purchaser of Russian oil is China. They are not looking at the fact. So simply, this seems to be as a political vendetta. This is simply targeting of India. This is beyond comprehension that why United States and why Trump administration is targeting India. Is it only to do with the tariffs? Is it only to do with the Russian oil purchase, or is it something else? Because if you see the facts, why if they call India as a Trump as a tariff Maharaja, why India is having these tariff rates? The average tariff rate India has, as per WTO reports 2022, and there has been no significant increase since 2022. The average is 10.6,
Right.
and that 10.6 is not the highest in the world. See the protection or the average tariffs in Brazil or Argentina, which are part of the Latin America. They have higher rates in terms of tariff. Why India is having higher tariffs, especially in agriculture sector? Because we have to protect the energy security. We are 1.4 billion people, Aishwarya, and we have to protect their livelihoods.
Right.
That remains a core concern for India.